Happy Friday and welcome to Stock Market Today. You have Alyssa Quorum here and I am joined by Ken Shreve. We're going to get to the market action, but Ken, kick us off with the stocks we're going to be taking a look at today.
Well, we're going to take a look at a delayed earnings response from Alibaba, which had a nice day today. Also preview a couple of earnings reports. Autodesk reports next week in the design software group, and also retailer Ollies Bargain Outlet.
Perfect. Well, that's a great lineup. First, let's take a look at the major indexes. The Nasdaq finishing up 0.4% to finish the week. We also had the S&P 500 with a similar gain today, and the Dow up 0.7%. So this uptrend is just really continuing strongly here. What are your thoughts?
Well, this is just it's a stock market uptrend that just does not want to quit for the Nasdaq and the S&P 500, 4 straight weekly gains. So that's a positive sign. We had just kind of strong buying all day. We had a lot of strong gainers in the Nasdaq 100, a lot of healthy stock charts out there, and really no signs of institutional selling at all in this market.
Yeah, well, let's flip on over to some interesting names, starting off with Alibaba, a nice session, up 3% today, heavy turnover, and we've really been tracking Alibaba this whole rally, and nice to see it getting closer to those prior highs from a couple of months ago, and breaking out of an earlier resistance level today. What's your impression of this stock action today?
Well, it was interesting. They reported earnings yesterday, and a lot of people were saying, well, the stock's price action was disappointing on Thursday. But when you look at Thursday's price action, you see it did manage to close all the way up near its high. Volume was pretty heavy yesterday, so there were definitely some buyers around in the stock on Thursday. And then you just had really good follow through today for Alibaba. You can see this is just a perfect example of what a good base looks like when a stock is setting up. You can see the buy point over on the left-hand side there at 10 cents to 268, and so this is definitely a breakout candidate. We've talked about the fact it's been a pretty busy week for China earnings, really strong earnings report from JD.com to kick off the week, but then Pinduoduo, which is in a similar business to Alibaba, that had a really miserable day today. So the results from Alibaba, you can see a 30% rise in revenue. Their cloud revenue was up 59% to 1.75 billion. So good day for Alibaba, and definitely going to watch this one to see if it can break out into new high ground.
Yeah, that's right. Potentially aggressive investors looking at this area to sneak in. But I also want to point out that Alibaba is one of our long-term leaders. So that also is something to keep in mind when you're looking for stocks to buy, stocks that have stellar track records of not just strong fundamentals, but the outperformance as well.
Yeah, long-term leader screen is at investors.com is really filled with a lot of great stocks. And actually, the next stock we're going to talk about, Autodesk, has got a couple of stocks in that group that are also long-term leaders, one on the watch list and one on the screen itself. So.
Yeah, let's flip on over to Autodesk ADSK. A quiet session today, down fractionally, but it had a very strong session Thursday, and a breakout candidate itself ahead of a quarterly earnings report next week.
Yeah, so Autodesk is a provider of computer-aided design software, and 2 other stocks in this group. We recently saw a strong earnings report. We talked about Synopsys on the show just yesterday, SNPS, and they had a good earnings report. So expecting nice results from Autodesk. This is a company that has a market cap just north of 50 billion, but quarter after quarter, the company seems to deliver 20% plus revenue growth. So still a pretty compelling growth story day for Autodesk, despite a really large market capitalization. So this one's on breakout watch as well, forming a good base here ahead of earnings. And we took a look at Autodesk as an option trade in the latest earnings preview column. So that's on the homepage of
Nice.
investors.com right now.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to ask you, was what the option looked like for this, because just a reminder to everyone that even though Autodesk is closing in on a buy point ahead of this quarterly report, we really like to have a nice cushion if you're going to be holding a stock into earnings. So it's not a low risk scenario to be buying a stock right before the report, but a way you can get around that is with options.
Yeah, exactly. And this stock is among a group of 8 or 9 software stocks set to report earnings next week. So we're going to hear from a couple of security software firms, Palo Alto Networks, Okta, enterprise software, Salesforce.com. So a whole bunch of software earnings next week, but really like the look of Autodesk as it sets up here. And again, in a very strong industry group in the market right now.
That's right. And check out that earnings preview column at investors.com, as Ken mentioned, for all the details on this option play. And last but not least, checking in on Ollie's Bargain Outlet, OLLI. Had a nice couple of sessions to end the week. It did test investors earlier in the week, though. But where do you think, what are your thoughts now of where it finished the week with a 2.7% gain today?
Yeah, I mean, I like the way it's acting ahead of earnings. They report earnings next week as well, Thursday after the close. This stock was added to our leaderboard product at investors.com on July 22nd. That's when it hit a high of 110.17 there, and you see it made yeah, there you go, bullish move on July 22nd. That's when the company issued very, very strong guidance for the quarter that we're going to hear about next week. They raised their sales guidance significantly. They raised their same-store sales guidance, but we've been hearing this a lot in the retail sector. A lot of these retailers have benefited from the stay-at-home trend and lockdowns and all that. So expecting pretty strong numbers from Ollies next week, and in a nice setup here. You can actually switch over to the weekly chart if you don't mind. And
Of course.
this is, yeah, so you can see this is really just a stock that is just acting right ahead of earnings. You can see the weekly gain this week, and look at the volume that came with it. Nice increase from the prior week. So I think technically it looks really solid ahead of earnings. So we'll be watching Autodesk and Ollie's Bargain Outlet next week.
Yeah, we'll have to see if the earnings can provide that upside catalyst for these names. Good to have them on your radar ahead of time so you can be prepared if and when we do see those moves on earnings next week. And we'll be breaking down all of the earnings action as usual and other stock moves every morning in detail at over on IEBD Live, or daily morning live stream, where our experts are sharing their screens and breaking down all the analysis you need for actionable stocks, as well as the broad market conditions, and this show as well every day too. And thank you for joining us, everyone. We hope you have a fantastic weekend, and we'll see you right back here on Monday.